I just want to be done. Okay. Nope. Be strong. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about The Chemist by Stephenie Meyer. And this is a book about Alex, who is a interrogator for Homeland Security, or at least it's heavily implied that that's who she works for. And she always gets results. She's able to inject chemicals into people to torture them and cause them great physical pain, and she always gets the answers that she needs from them when she's interrogating them. So at some point the relationship has soured between her and Homeland Security, and she is basically, they're trying to kill her. She runs and she's in hiding when we find her in the beginning of the book. So I just have to say that this book to me was super boring, and I had to work so hard to finish it. I kept thinking, this has got to get more interesting, this has got to get more interesting, and it just didn't. I feel like there was some very Stephenie Meyer-ish things in here, things that she puts in almost all of her books, and the characters really lacked any kind of depth that I would have wanted to make me really root for them and care about them. So I'm going to go over like a brief little overview of the story, and then I will get into spoilers. So like I said, it's about Alex. She's an interrogator, and she gets contacted by Homeland Security after they've tried to kill her, and they say, we need you, there's going to be a virus that's going to be unleashed, a huge terrorist attack that's going to kill millions of people, and you're the only person who can get the results we need. So she's super concerned that they're not telling her the truth, but she decides that saving all these people is worth it. That this is, she has to save millions of people if she can. So they give her a name of a guy whose parents have died, his brother was killed in prison, he's just recently been divorced, and he's supposedly been in contact with this drug lord who's in possession of the virus, and he's going to be the one to spread it. So she finds him, and that's kind of where the story goes from there, is her interrogating him and figuring out what's going to happen. So I will just say this is like a 1.5, 2-star book for me. I really had a hard time getting into it. I had a hard time caring. These characters are just, I feel like I was reading Twilight if it was, a government conspiracy. It's the exact same kind of setup. And here's the spoilers. So Alex gets the guy, Daniel, who she believes is going to spread this deadly virus, and they meet on a train, and she starts talking to him, and he's very interested in her right from the beginning. Even though she's supposedly not much to look at, she's short, she has a boyish body type, because of course we need to know that, and that's the thing with Stephenie Meyer, always seeming to downplay a character's looks, even though every single male is attracted to them. They're gonna seem very ordinary, they're gonna be your average girl, but every single guy is gonna be like, I'm totally blown away by your totally averageness. It's hot, I love it. And that's what happens here. Daniel is super interested in Alex, even though we're told she's basically nothing special. He is immediately drawn to her, immediately interested in her. Well, then she takes him back to her torture lair and proceeds to torture him, injecting him with chemicals that cause him excruciating pain. So after that, Daniel's brother, who is definitely not dead, of course, that was pretty easy to figure out, comes and rescues him, and they all decide that they need to work together because it was a big setup. They were set up. Daniel was never going to do anything wrong. He was never involved with terrorists. It was a setup to basically get his brother and Alex together and get them to either kill each other or have one of them take out the other person so that then the government can come in and finish the job. So that's the whole beginning of this book. I have to say, after she tortures him, Daniel is still really into Alex. And that was weird. It was really weird. And I was basically on his brother's side. His brother's name is Kevin. Kevin is like, she's insane. She's, we know about her. She's a ruthless, and torturer, which she is. You can say she had noble intentions and she was trying to save people, but she tortures somebody without knowing the full backstory. She doesn't try and see if maybe they fabricated stuff or this evidence is not real. She just takes what they say and goes after Daniel and takes him and tortures him. And he immediately, the next time they're alone, is like, hey, I still like you. Hey, let's get together. Why? Why would you have that in the book? This is not a thriller. This is a romance wrapped up in a little tiny bit of thriller package. Like, this is not a, This is not a Tom Clancy novel. This is not a James Bond novel. So this is supposed to be about, you know, espionage and government conspiracies and backstabbing, and it's supposed to be a thriller. This is a romance. This is a romance that she tried to wrap up in a thriller, and it's not interesting and not very well done. I just have to say, these characters are very reminiscent of Twilight characters. If Edward had been a CIA operative and had tortured Bella to get information, it could have been the same characters, because they're both so uninteresting and so the insta love is so insta love. Like, I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking about Daniel. Why do you like her? Why do you want to be with Alex? Because the book needs you to be? Because it made no sense. He was tortured by her and then he still wants to get with her, and we have this very unnecessary, drawn out relationship that makes no sense. And just like Bella, who is supposedly in some way deficient because she's not afraid of Edward and doesn't realize he's a natural predator, Alex is naturally deficient in that she can't feel love. She keeps saying, oh, I think that part of me is defective. Oh, I just can't know that I'm in love. And yeah, you shouldn't know that you're in love. You're not in love. This is not real. You guys are in a very, you know, you're in a dangerous situation and are drawn to each other by something physical, no doubt, but this is not love. This is not true love. And Daniel constantly trying to convince Alex that they've been thrown together by fate is kind of gross. Like, she tortured you. Stop trying to romanticize this whole thing. It's not right. It's not right. So I just didn't like the book. I really didn't like the characters. They're very stereotypical. Daniel and Kevin, the two brothers who happen to be twins, of course, are the stereotypes of Kevin is the bad boy. He's the Jacob of this situation. He's very outspoken. He's very physical. He's very, you know, ripped and muscular. And Daniel is the calm one. He is the intellectual. He is the person that, you know, is sweet and soft-spoken and kind. And it's just, we've seen these characters before. Alex could have had a much more interesting character. Like, she could have been somebody very interesting if she would have constantly been wondering if Daniel was messed up psychologically from the torture. You know, maybe he's latched onto her because of that. She thinks that fleetingly, but then she just buys into the whole we're meant to be together, it's a romance. But they should have held on to the coldness of her character, that she couldn't feel love, that he was trying to push something on her that she didn't actually ever feel. And it would have made her more interesting. But her buying into it and suddenly having, you know, the feels about him touching her or holding her hand or kissing her, it just didn't match up with what we know about her character. So this book just didn't work for me for so many reasons, and I just don't like it. I would rather read Twilight or The Host again than read another book like this, where it's telling you that it's a thriller, that it's exciting, that it's, you know, all this action is going to happen, and it's basically just a romance. It's not taking you any place that you're worried about these characters. You know they're all going to survive, that there's going to be a nice little bow tied up at the end to make everything work out for them, and it's true. They all end up safe and sound, because that's not what Stephenie Meyer writes. This is not going to be a dark, you know, gritty look at what is going on in the government and what could be happening with people being double-crossed by the, you know, Homeland Security or the CIA. No, this is a romance. And I wish it would have been marketed as just a straight romance, because I was more annoyed that it was so boring to read a thriller that was not in any way thrilling. So I have nothing personal against Stephenie Meyer. Like I said, I did like her other books and I have read them. So that's pretty much my thoughts on this book. I would not recommend it unless you really love that kind of insta love. This is relationship driven plot that doesn't really make a lot of sense considering all the things that have happened. Then you might love this book. I just couldn't get into it, and I was so annoyed by the end. I was just like, please let this end quickly. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the book. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I hope to talk to you in the comments. If you have read this and you loved it, please let me know. I definitely thought this would be a totally different book than what it ended up being. So let me know what you think, and yeah, let's bye.